The I.A.M. Movement presents part 2 of I Am Her Story featuring Miss Cinquetta Williams. Let's get right into it.
As we continue to approach you telling your story, with everything that you've gone through from a child and feeling like the secret child and feeling like not being accepted, do you now feel like you have a sense of belonging? Do you feel love, that ultimate love?
I mean, I do feel love. I just don't feel love from them. Would I like that? Of course. Do I necessarily want it? I'm not going to lose sleep if I don't get it. But I feel like I have a tribe. I belong, So I'm good on that.
What are the greatest obstacles that you have had to overcome?
Greatest obstacles in my entire life.
Yes.
Greatest means the hardest thing I've ever had to overcome in my life.
Yes.
Well, one of the hardest is definitely my surgery. At 35 years old, 36, 35. At 35, I had a very serious surgery done, right? I think I'm just realizing how serious it is 3 years later. But that was, I wouldn't necessarily say that was an obstacle. But that was a hurdle. Had to get over that. And I'm over it, but as far as the jump, like leaping over, but I'm still processing it. I'm still digesting it. I'm still even understanding what that looks like for my life, what it did to me, how it changed me physically, how it changed me mentally. It changed me. And I didn't think that it would. I didn't think that it would change me. The other thing is I was in an abusive relationship. And I don't know if I would call that an obstacle, maybe, because I chose that. So I don't necessarily, sometimes we choose our obstacles. But yeah, those were the two hardest things I had to overcome. One, because I just feel like I come from a strong family. I think we all feel like if we watch Maury, right? I'm like, that would never be me. You never think that you would end up in that situation. And we always talk about if we were in that situation from the outside, what we would do. But when you in it, it's a total different ball game. So, and I think those were hard because one, I didn't ever think that would happen to me. I didn't ever think that I would become victim or weak in a sense, because in your mind you feel like, oh, ain't no dude gonna put his hands on me, or ain't nobody gonna do this to me. But when you in that, it's not the same as just talking about it. And the surgery, of course, because I didn't ever think that would happen to me either. I didn't ever think that I would be facing, and that was life or death. Whoa. Yeah, that was life or death. And that's still, like just right now, you saw the light bulb come on, right? That happens often. Like, dang, that was life or death. Dang, it still is life or death, because although I'm over the actual part of it, I'm still dealing with the effects of the whole thing, of the root of what attacked me, what tried to take me out. And it's almost like saying, I'm healed, but you still feel sick. And the effects of what tried to kill you is just trying to keep its little grips in. So that's hard, because I'm still processing it.
So what is life like post-surgery? And how are you dealing with the thoughts of things trying to take you out? What do you do to affirm yourself and to keep pushing towards your complete and total healing? Because we do have to say what a thing is, even sometimes when we don't see it. But you still have to speak it. Speak those things that be not as though they were. So I'm going to keep speaking that you're healed, right? Even though you might see some side effects thereof, but in all, you're still healed. And we'll get to that point where we'll see the totality of it. But what do you do, or how, because you are sharing your story. Someone may be experiencing the same exact thing that you're going through, where they had a major surgery, life or death. And they feel like, okay, now that I've had this surgery, how am I going to go on? How am I going to get through this? Still dealing with the side effects of what I've been through, right? So what would you say to that person as it relates to words of encouragement to get them through that journey? Because recovery is recovery. It's going to hurt until it get better. But in your recovery, you can't rush the recovery, for one, right? You can't rush the recovery. And it is important that you rest through it, because you don't want to keep putting tension on what's already irritated.
Right.
How would you encourage someone along the way of maintaining who you are, realizing that you are not where you're going to be, and keeping your peace in the midst of the recovery?
The enemy tries to attack your mind. That's his playground. So if he has that, then he got you. And that's speaking to someone that may have, or whatever, that's in a similar position as me. That's the main thing. So all of it is mental. After the physical part of feeling sick, being hurt, not feeling well, not being able to do or whatever, the real battle is the mental part. So the affirmations come in on a daily basis. Even on those days when you don't feel strong enough to affirm yourself, you still have to speak life. One word that came to me shortly after I had the surgery was fight for your life. And I didn't know what that meant. And I was like, okay, God, fight for my life. So generally, I'm thinking, fight for my life. That means, you gotta go hard, gotta eat right, gotta do all these things. Yes, you gotta fight. And the fight is not just the physical aspect of it, of, taking your medicine and, eating right, on all the things the doctors say you're supposed to do, the physical part. Every day, try and live here. Because when you wake up, you're alive. But you can still be dead on the inside if you allow your mind to just run away with you. So what I do for me is, I noticed what I did was, I just kept being me, just doing the things that, just being myself. I didn't feel in my mind that, I didn't think that the surgery was that serious. I didn't think there was life or death. Like, oh yeah, we're going to do surgery on your spine, but we're going to cut your neck open to get there. Like, that's serious, right? But I feel like I had to keep just trying to do things that I couldn't do nothing. Let's just stop there. I couldn't do nothing for me. I couldn't wipe myself. I could barely go to the bathroom on my own. I couldn't cook a meal. I couldn't hold things. I couldn't do anything. That alone, right there, will take you out. When you go from being able to self-sufficient to not being able to do anything on your own. But every day you can't stay there. That's like you fall off the bike, you're going to stay on the ground. And you got to get back to the house now. You're going to stay on the ground. Bike ain't going to get there by itself. You have to get up and get back on that bike with that busted knee and paddle back home. So you just got to push through. And whatever that looks like for you. So for me, pushing through was still trying to keep my daily activities of life. The things that I couldn't do for myself, that I couldn't use my hands, and that's something we use on a daily basis. So imagine not being able to touch your washcloth and it feels weird and you got to wash yourself. But what do you do when you don't have nobody to do that for you? You don't have no home health aide. You don't have your kids not even at an age where they can do that for you. My husband did everything that I couldn't do for myself, but I wanted to do that. So every day for me was, even though this rag feels so hard in my hand, I'm going to keep doing it until I, some feeling come or something, until I'm able to. Now I'm able to do everything for myself, but I still need help. It's some things I can't do, but you just gotta push through, and whatever that looks like for you.
We shift gears and go back to you speaking about being in a domestic violence or a balanced relationship. What or how did you, one, overcome that situation? Because there are many women and men who suffer from domestic violence or who are in those type of relationships. What would you say to someone who is currently in that situation, and how or what would you give them as tools to get out of that situation?
You have to love yourself. Because if you don't love you, no one is going to love you like you. So you have to love yourself more than the relationship, more than the person, more than the things, more than whatever it is that's holding you there. You have to love yourself to life. Otherwise, you die. You die physically, you die mentally, you die spiritually. Every part of you is diminished. So you have to love you you have to love you enough to say that I am more than this. I deserve better than this. This is not for me. What I found, and when I look back now that I'm married and I have someone who loves me like I've never been loved before, I realized that in previous relationships, I was the one that was giving all the love. I was getting love back, but not to the capacity of what I was dishing out. Now I'm getting so much love. I'm like, oh, do I deserve all this love? Like, where is this? How? So you have to love you enough to know that you deserve more than that. And you have to want to be out of the situation. Sometimes we want to be out of it, but we don't necessarily know how. And when you ask for tools, I honestly speaking, I don't really have tools to give you to say this is what you have to do. Of course, tell a friend, confide in somebody who you trust, talk to somebody, all of those things, so that worst case scenario, somebody will know, somebody will be aware. But the only one tool that I can really give is God. That's, having a relationship with Him is probably the one thing that saved me. Because I would like to say that if I didn't know Him, I don't know how that situation could have ended.
This has been part 2 of Miss Cinquetta's story. Stay connected for parts 3 and 4 coming at you soon.